A stranger in the Neon City, and one unforgettable night. The city never slept. Neon lights painted the sky with blue, pink, and gold. Flying cars buzzed above the glass towers, and deep below, on the lower streets, people came and went, some looking for deals, others looking to disappear. Raylan walked alone through the glowing crowds. He had finished his delivery job for the night. Same route. Same empty feeling. He wasn't rich. He wasn't special. Just another human trying to survive in a city filled with aliens, tech, and broken promises. He passed a club entrance, a glowing doorway with soft music pouring out. Inside, the lights flickered like stars. Raylan never went into places like that. But tonight, he stopped. Something pulled him in. The music was soft, but deep. The walls shimmered like liquid metal. Strange drinks floated in glass spheres. Alien voices spoke in whispers and clicks. And then he saw her, sitting alone at the far corner of the bar. She wasn't like the others. Her skin glowed a soft silver blue. Her eyes shimmered like galaxies. Long strands of white hair framed her face like silk. And yet, she looked just as alone as he felt. Their eyes met. She didn't smile. She didn't speak. But she tilted her head, just slightly. An invitation. Raylan walked over, unsure why. "Is this seat taken?" he asked. She nodded once. He sat down. They didn't talk at first. The silence between them felt heavy, but not uncomfortable. She placed her hand on the table, palm up. Raylan looked at it, then slowly placed his hand over hers. Her skin was cool, but electric. She closed her eyes. A small light glowed from her collarbone. She whispered something in a language he didn't understand, then looked at him and said, in soft English, "One night. No questions. No promises." Raylan blinked. He nodded. They left the club together. No one stopped them. No one watched. It was as if the world had paused. Her room was high above the city. Quiet. Peaceful. No music. No noise. Just stars outside the window. She moved slowly, gently. She never asked his name, and he never asked hers. But when she touched his chest with her palm, a strange warmth spread through him. His vision blurred for a second. His heart raced. But he wasn't afraid. He felt seen. They shared the night like a dream. No words, just feeling. Every moment soft, strange, safe. And then, just before dawn, she whispered one word into his ear. "Chosen." Raylan opened his eyes, but she was already gone. The bed was cold. Her scent faded, but something had changed. He stood up and looked in the mirror. There, just over his heart, was a glowing mark, faint, like a tattoo of light. He touched it, and for a second, he heard her voice. "You will remember me, even when no one else will." Raylan left the room in silence, back into the neon city. The lights still flickered. The crowd still moved, but nothing looked the same. He thought it was just one night, one moment, but deep inside, something had begun. The sun rose slowly over the towers of Neon District 9. But Raylan didn't notice. He stood in the same room where the alien girl had vanished just hours before. No sign of her. No name. No message. Just silence, and the mark glowing on his chest. He checked the hallway. No one had seen her leave. The front desk worker didn't even remember checking her in. "She was never registered," they said. "But I was here with her," Raylan insisted. The worker only shrugged. Sometimes people don't want to be remembered. Raylan stepped out into the morning crowd. The air buzzed with flying drones and fast-talk salesmen. But his mind stayed quiet. Empty. Lost. What was that night? Who was she? And why can't I forget her? For 2 days, he walked the city. Every street. Every level. He returned to the club. Closed. He checked the ports. No matches. He even searched alien databases. Nothing. It was like she had never existed, except she hadn't left him. Not completely. That night, he slept lightly. And that's when the dreams began. He saw her walking through stars, her skin glowing brighter, her voice calling out, not in words, but in feeling. Longing, pain, connection. He woke with a gasp. His chest burned. The glowing mark was pulsing now, brighter. And in his ears, he heard her voice. Faint, but real. Rallin. He touched the mark. A sudden wave of heat rushed through his body. For a second, the lights in his room flickered. His breath stopped. Then, calm. Like someone had pressed pause on the universe. This is not normal, he whispered. The next morning, Rallin visited an old contact, Dr. Sillon, a cyberbiologist who had studied alien bonding rituals. She scanned the mark on his chest. Her eyes went wide. This isn't tech, she said. It's living energy. Whatever she did, it's changing you. Rallin's hands trembled. Is it dangerous? She paused. Not yet, but it's growing. You bonded with something that doesn't belong to Earth. Back in his room, Rallin stared at the city skyline. Everything looked the same. But inside, he didn't feel like Rallin anymore. That night, the dreams returned. This time, they were clearer. He saw her, surrounded by shadowy figures, her body flickering. She was in pain, calling him again. Rallin, don't forget me. He sat up in bed, drenched in sweat. His chest mark now glowing white-blue. His fingers sparked when he touched metal. And in the mirror, for a moment, his eyes glowed too. Something was happening. She was still out there. And whatever they had shared, it wasn't over. The city didn't feel the same anymore. It was louder, colder, and somehow closer. Rallin walked down the crowded market alley, but every step felt like someone was walking behind him. When he turned, nothing. But he could feel it. Eyes watching. It had been 5 days since Araya vanished. 5 days since the mark appeared on his chest. And now, things were getting stranger. Street cameras blinked when he walked by. Screens turned black. Holograms glitched. And sometimes he saw her face flash in the static, just for a second. He stopped at a vendor stand, pretending to browse alien fruit. Then he saw it. A black figure, tall and smooth-skinned, standing at the edge of the crowd. No face, no sound, just stillness. Rallin blinked. Gone. He backed away. This wasn't normal. Something was following him. And it wasn't human. Later that night, back in his room, he locked the doors. He shut the lights. He sat in silence. The mark on his chest was glowing again. This time, it pulsed, slow and steady, like it was alive. What did you leave in me, Araya? He whispered. The lights flickered. Then, bang. A sound at the window. Rallin grabbed his coat and rushed out. He didn't care anymore. He had to find answers. He went to the Undercity, a place where tech ran wild, and no one asked questions. He met with Krell, a half-human data smuggler who owed him a favor. Scan this, Rallin said, pulling his shirt open. Krell looked at the mark, froze, then slowly backed away. You brought that here. What is it? That's not a mark. That's a signal crystal, but fused inside your skin. You're broadcasting. Rallin stepped back. Broadcasting what? Krell's eyes narrowed. A trace signature, ancient Felari tech. Only one type of person carries it, those bonded to a soul caller. You didn't just sleep with someone, Rallin. You bonded with a forbidden bloodline. Rallin's chest burned. Forbidden? I didn't know, he said. She didn't tell me. Krell pulled down the blinds. Doesn't matter now. The ones who hunt soul callers, they don't care if you knew. They just erase the bond. Erase you. Outside the shop, a black drone hovered, silent, watching. Then it vanished into the shadows. Raylan looked at Krell. What do I do? Krell sighed. If she's alive, you have to find her before they do. Because if they sever that bond while she's still linked to you, you don't just die. You disappear. Raylan nodded slowly. No more running. If he wanted answers, if he wanted to survive, he had to find her. And somewhere far away, deep in the void between stars, she opened her eyes. Araya gasped, clutching her chest. He's waking up. They'll come for him now. The night was colder than usual. Raylan sat alone on the rooftop of an old supply tower. Below, the city lights flickered like stars, but his heart felt heavy. He couldn't stop thinking about her. The way she had touched him, the way her voice echoed in his dreams, the way she had disappeared. He clenched his fist. The glowing mark on his chest pulsed again, faster this time, like it could hear his thoughts. Then the windows on the tower across from him shattered. All of them. At once. Raylan froze. He looked at his hands. What was that? He stood quickly. His fingertips sparked with pale blue light. The air around him felt thick, heavy, alive. Footsteps echoed behind him. He turned, fast. A young woman stood there, dressed in a cloak, half her face hidden. I saw what you did, she said. Raylan stepped back. Who are you? She removed her hood. Her skin was purple-blue, not human, but not like Araya either. I'm called Vesh. I was sent to watch the bond-bearer. But you're not just bonded. You're evolving. Raylan blinked. What do you mean? Vesh stepped closer. Your body is reacting to the energy Araya left inside you. Soul callers don't just connect. They change their chosen. You are no longer fully human. He backed away. No, I didn't ask for this. Vesh nodded slowly. That doesn't matter now. You are marked. You feel pain, it becomes power. You feel fear, it becomes force. And if you feel love. She stopped. You could become unstoppable. Suddenly, sirens. Then a flash of black light from the sky. A hunter ship. Velari design. Fast, deadly. Tracking the signal. Vesh's eyes widened. They found you. Raylan stepped back, chest glowing again. The mark on his skin flared with bright gold. He felt pressure in his head, his heart, his spine. And then, the rooftop cracked beneath his feet. He yelled. The sky above shimmered. Power exploded out from him like a shockwave. The hunter ship jerked sideways midair. Its cloaking failed. It crashed down into a lower platform, sparks flying. Vesh stood still, eyes wide. You didn't just survive the bond. You inherited it. Raylan fell to one knee, breathing hard. His skin pulsed with energy. But it was his energy now. Alive, connected, burning. He looked at Vesh. What do I do now? She helped him up. You find her. Before they do. Because if this bond completes, you won't just be different. You'll be something new. Far across the stars, Araya opened her eyes again. She felt him. Stronger now. And she whispered, He's beginning. The rain fell hard that night. Raylan sat under a broken shelter near the edge of the district wall. His heart still beat fast from what happened on the rooftop. The mark on his chest hadn't stopped glowing. It was brighter now, hotter, and deep inside, he felt her, closer than ever. Then he heard it, a whisper, a familiar voice in his mind. Raylan. He stood quickly, looking around. The shadows moved. Then out of the darkness, she appeared. Araya stepped into the light, soaked from the rain, hair clinging to her silver skin. She looked thinner, her glow dimmer. But her eyes, They still held the stars. Relin froze. For a moment, he couldn't speak. He just stared at her. She took one step closer. I didn't want to leave you, but I had to protect you. He moved forward, heart pounding. You said one night. No promises. She smiled faintly. I broke my own rule. I felt you, even light years away. Relin touched her hand. Warm. Real. She placed her fingers over the mark on his chest. It pulsed under her touch. Both of them glowed, together. But then, she pulled away. Quickly. They followed me. They want the bond erased. They call it a corruption. A dark rumble echoed through the streets. Lights flickered. Relin looked up. A massive shape moved above the city. A Severer, an ancient Velari machine, built to break soul bonds. They sent a Severer. Relin asked, stepping in front of her. She nodded. It will destroy us both if we stay connected. It finds the bond and pulls it apart. Relin gritted his teeth. Let it come. Araya's eyes widened. You don't understand. If it starts the severing while we're this close, you might lose your memories. You might lose me. He looked at her for a long moment, then said quietly, I'd rather lose myself than live without you. A glowing drone dropped from the sky, searching, scanning. Araya's hands lit up. She destroyed it with a single thought. But it was too late. The Severer had found them. The ground trembled. Energy gathered in the sky. The machine began to descend. Massive, silent, pulsing with dark light. A perfect weapon. Relin held Araya's hand tighter. We fight together. She looked into his eyes. Then we bond fully. No fear, no return. He nodded. Do it. Araya placed both palms over his heart. Her eyes burned gold. This time, we don't share a night. We share a soul. A beam of energy from the Severer blasted toward them. But before it could hit, a surge of light exploded from their bodies. Not gold, not silver, white. A wave of energy pushed outward, blinding everything in its path. The Severer froze midair. Its core shook. Its structure bent. Then it shattered. Silence followed. Then the rain began to fall again. But this time, it felt soft. Clean. Safe. Relin collapsed to his knees. Still breathing. Still whole. Araya knelt beside him. She whispered, It's done. The bond is complete. And in the sky above them, thousands of eyes across distant worlds turned toward Earth. For the first time in Velari history, a bond had survived the Severer, and the stars would never forget it. Relin lay still. His eyes were open, but he wasn't fully there. Not in his body. Not in the street. He was inside something else. Araya held his hand, her voice soft. He's not waking up. They've changed tactics. They're inside his mind. All around them, the air shimmered with strange static. The Severer had broken apart, but not before it released a final weapon, the Soul Threader. It didn't kill with force. It tore from within. Relin blinked, but what he saw wasn't Earth. He stood in an endless white space, surrounded by floating images. Memories. His childhood. His home. The night he met her. But one by one, they flickered, faded, vanished. He tried to hold on. He screamed her name, but his voice made no sound. Then a figure appeared, dark, hollow-eyed, wearing a mask of light. It spoke without moving. You were not chosen. This bond is false. Let go, and you will be free. Relin shook his head. No. The voice echoed again. You are human. She is not. Your connection is an error. You will forget. A cold wind rushed through the void. The memory of her face flickered, nearly gone. Then, a spark. Soft at first, then warm, then real. He turned. Araya stood behind him, her eyes glowing, hands outstretched. I'm not just in your dreams, Rallin. I'm inside your heart. Fight. With me. The soul freighters screamed. The space trembled. Memories shattered like glass. But Rallin reached for her hand. She took it. Light exploded between them. And suddenly, every memory came back. Stronger. Brighter. Anchored. The Thrader tried again. But now the light was too strong. Too bonded. Too human. Rallin shouted, "You want me to forget love? Then you've already lost." The white void cracked. Split. Shattered. And the soul Thrader vanished into dust. Back in the real world, Rallin's eyes snapped open. He gasped. Alive. Sweating. But whole. Araya smiled through tears. "You found me," she whispered. "No," he said, voice shaking. "You held me." All around them, the city lights steadied. The air was quiet again. The threat had passed. They sat in silence under the night sky, holding hands. The stars above flickered, like they knew what had just happened. Far away, across the galaxy, a silent chamber of elders watched from a floating station. The lead elder turned to the others. The bond resisted the severing. The human mind adapted. A younger voice replied. Then perhaps, the stars are choosing something new. The morning came slowly. The city of glass and light was calm again. No alarms, no shadows, just soft air and quiet skies. Rallin stood at the edge of a high rooftop, watching the sun rise over the towers. His chest still glowed, faint, gentle, alive. Behind him, Araya walked barefoot across the rooftop tiles. She stopped beside him, silent for a moment, then said softly, "You survived." He looked at her and smiled. "No, we survived." They sat side by side, feet dangling off the edge. The bond inside them was no longer pulsing. It had become something deeper, steady, warm, permanent. "I can still hear your thoughts," she whispered. "Not words, just feeling. You feel full, like you found your place." Rallin nodded slowly. "It's because I have." A silver bird flew past them, rare, alien, glowing slightly. Even the wildlife seemed changed, as if the bond had echoed into the world itself. Later that day, they met with the last surviving Vilari elder, who had been watching from afar. She stepped into the chamber with grace. Her eyes studied Rallin closely. "The bond is no longer a connection," she said. "It is a fusion. You are not just human anymore. You are a mirror soul." Rallin didn't flinch. He only said, "I didn't become less human. I just became something more." The elder bowed. A deep, ancient motion. "Then let it be written. The first true union of human and Vilari has been completed, and it did not end in war. It began with kindness. Weeks passed, then months. The city learned to accept them. Some feared, some admired. But none could deny the peace that followed. Together, Rallin and Araya traveled the system, telling their story, helping others understand what the bond really meant. Not a rule, not a law, but a choice, a feeling, a truth. One night, under a sky with 2 moons, Araya lay beside him on soft grass. Her fingers drew shapes on his arm. "Do you regret it?" she asked. "That one night, long ago." Rallin smiled. "It was supposed to mean nothing, but it gave me everything." They looked up at the stars. Quiet, close. Not just 2 lives anymore, but one soul. And somewhere, far in the distant reaches of space, another alien stood alone, watching a glowing star map. He saw their path and whispered, "If a human and a soul caller can merge, then maybe there's hope for us all." Because it started with a stranger, it ended with a choice, and in between, A bond was born that changed a life, changed a world, and maybe even the galaxy. The end.